welcome to me. And I am pronouncing your name right.
You are. Yes,
Yeah.
you got it right.
Amazing. So you are our first guest, our first coach onto the Inner Bloom Live. So we're meeting all the coaches inside the academy. You are our first one. So
I didn't know that. That's amazing. I love that. Oh, it's an honor.
So lovely to have you. And you obviously hosted our first women's circle this week as well, which was absolutely magical.
It was beyond. I mean, leading up to the day, the synchronicities were just off the charts. And the day before, I shared with everybody in the circle on Sunday, because our circle was held on Monday. But Sunday was my 3-year anniversary of hosting circles. So it was powerful to come together with all those ladies and host the circle. And we actually met on the day that was Mary Magdalene's feast day. So there were women all over the world meeting and sitting in circle and holding ceremonies together. So the magnitude of that was, I think, really felt within our space. It rippled throughout. So it was just another beautiful moment to be engaging in this level of connection and sisterhood with other women, while other women all around the world were doing the same. So it was just powerful, auspicious, and just everything magical.
Just that collective energy, isn't it? It's just magical, and it can be felt even though you're in different sides of the world.
Right.
It's just when you come together as women, as sisters, that collective energy is just like amazing.
Yeah. Well, you know what, women, we are a force. We truly are. I believe we are a powerful force in this world. We are really reflective of nature, and Mother Nature herself is a powerful force. And we see that all the time. We can see how she can be calm and easy, you know, whispers in the wind, or it could be chaotic, churning storms. It's really anybody's guess of what comes up. And the feminine is so reflective in that.
Yeah. I mentioned in my story yesterday about I'm just feeling this real massive shift with the feminine energy, and like there's so many women coming together and wanting to kind of heal the feminine and just reconnect with the feminine as well. I know I've been feeling it a lot, but I just like a lot of the ladies that I've spoken to, it's just like this massive collective shift, isn't there, coming?
Yeah, and I think it's really important, and we've reached a place where we are, right, humanity, in the place of our evolution, where I think it's so important to be having these conversations around it, because there have been so many distortions and inversions around what the feminine really is. I mean, we can see throughout years how we've been told how to act or how to dress. There's certain areas within the feminine in regards to, let's say, our monthly cycles, the narratives around that, how that has been seen as something to be secretive or dirty or not talked about, right? Or even the beauty standards within our world, how it's really sort of tried to freeze the feminine to keep her in her maiden embodiment, a younger looking feminine, and has really sort of tried to, again, distort or even eliminate that natural progression from maiden to mother to the wise woman. So there's so many narratives, I think, that we need to start rewriting to come back to that true embodiment of what the feminine really is.
Yeah, 100%. I feel it. It's like we've been so programmed to be in our masculine, because they want that disconnect, don't they? That's the way I see it. They want us disconnected from our feminine, from our energy, from our children.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it's been, like, obviously since like the witch trials and everything. They've just tried to separate us, haven't they, from that powerful, because we are so powerful, aren't we?
We are. I mean, we are that bridge. We are that bridge between the spiritual and the physical. We do birth life into this world. And with that, with our natural energy and our natural essence, there's so much that we can bring through a certain intelligence that we hold within that is needed in this world. And I think that has been misunderstood for a very long time. And exactly, they've tried to control that and put it into a box. And the feminine energy really can't be boxed in, right? Like, and we do hold obviously masculine and feminine energies within us. And the masculine energy is more of that logical and analytical, where it can do well with placing things in boxes and organizing and figuring that out. But the feminine is intuitive, and it's feeling based, and it's that deeper connection. It's the it's that sinking in, right? That softening and going deeper within, and especially with our bodies. And there's been so much disconnection around that as well. And when women are more in our masculine, that can take us right out of that natural, intuitive, feeling based embodiment, whether that be, you know, disconnected from our bodies due to trauma that we're facing, or even just the everyday stressors of life, right? That can get us so masculine, those checklists. So I have to do this, this, and this, and that constant, you know, it's always flowing in the mind. And that takes us so far from that deeper connection to the body and the feeling base.
Yeah. So, oh, I agree with you 100%. I'm really feeling it at the minute. So tell us, what is it you do in your business as a coach? What is it you
Yeah.
do? It's obviously this.
Yes. So I do work with women one-on-one, or we do work in a group setting. I do have my own membership called The Circle that we meet twice a month, and we have live circles. So they're really coaching and connection calls where we come together and we dive into exactly what we're talking about right now. And I'm now doing that for Inner Bloom, which is wonderful. So I'm so happy to be expanding this type of work to an even bigger community and family of beautiful women to join together in this sisterhood. But when we come together, the first place I do like to start again is really challenging these narratives. Right. And really, what does that feminine embodiment look like for you? Because another piece that I see women get so caught up in is what I'll refer to as like the aesthetic of it. So what it looks like. And that happens in so many communities, right? That happens in the spiritual community and the healing community. People get too focused on what they're doing and what it looks like. And it can become a checklist or like a laundry list of things to do. And it's missing that intuitive piece, right? That's really, really important. So we get back into that. We really get back into basics. So it's starting with the level of the body, getting acquainted with your body and the communication that your body holds, that intelligence, that intuitive wisdom, right? That's innate. That's within us. Nobody can take that away, but people do feel dissociated or disconnected from it. So we will start with, again, challenging the narratives, going into the body, feeling safe to connect with our innate wisdom there, and, you know, following that inner compass, because that is what is going to lead you and direct you. You are your greatest ally, your greatest teacher, your greatest advocate, right? There's nothing external that you need. We do hold all of that within. So we do start there. We start with that journey, heading inwards and sinking deeper into the body and that type of natural communication within. So it's a whole internal world cultivation, because when you cultivate the internal world, that's when you see the external manifestation. So we dive deep to be inwardly directed so we can be externally commanded.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And that is, it's connecting with, reconnect with the body, the womb, that
Yes.
power center, and really like drop into the body, because we're so stuck in our head, like generalizing. A lot of us are so stuck in our mind, and obviously a lot of the healing work that we do with our beliefs are in our mind.
Yes.
Connecting to that body, it's like the missing piece, isn't it? So I love that that's what you focus on. It's so
Well, it's
beautiful.
powerful too, because and the mind and the body are beautifully interconnected. So I like to work at an integrative approach.
Yeah.
So not just isolating into one area, we are integrating them, because there should be a symbiotic flow. So when we're talking about the internal world and how that affects the external, it's in constant movement, in constant flux, and constant communication. So it is a symbiotic flow. And when we can dive deeper into making that connection, I mean, I'm sure there's so many people who could be listening to this right now. And when you sort of dive into it, let's say you have something going on with the mind, right? You, thought patterns, anxiety, something that's coming up in that sense. It's so hard to talk yourself out of those thoughts, because it is deeply felt as well. So your state, what you're feeling in your body, can feed your thoughts, and your thoughts then loop back and feed your state. So it is interconnected. So if we can work it with an integrative approach at the level of the body, right, going up into the mind, we can have a much better, well-rounded approach to our healing.
I love that. Oh, I love it. It's amazing. So what else is it that you do within like your membership? Obviously there's a lot of work with the feminine, so what else do you do?
Yeah, so we do like to, again, so it's an integrative approach. So I really, again, like to work sort of in a bottom up fashion. So we will start with the physical body, we move into the emotional layers, into the mental body, and then the higher spiritual bodies. So kind of like the aspect of the aura, how that moves out, because that's what we are connected to in the greater world. So we work in that type of a fashion, and it's really working with the deeper intuitive knowing. So that type of embodiment, and how to weave it into your lifestyle. Because the biggest thing, like, women will sit there and they'll ask me, okay, I'm ready to tap into my feminine energy. What do I need to do? And they're waiting for all these actionable steps. And I'm like, well, that's the problem. It's more of letting go of that doing and relaxing into the being.
Yeah.
It's more feeling based. So, and how can we do that? How can we explore that? Because, my feminine embodiment could look so much different than your feminine embodiment.
Yeah.
And we can give examples on how to do that, and how to get back into the body. And I do, provide practices on that. We get into somatics, we get into different areas that we can have fun and explore. But that's the other piece of it. It's so connected to play. Right? There's a play principle here, a pleasure principle of sinking deeper and being able to rest and relax and receive. Since we're so wired to be go, 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 hustle, 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 do, do, do. It's like, what can you lean back into? What lights you up? Where is that passion? What are you drawn to? And it could be something that you're immersed in. I think the key is your presence. Right? Your presence in that. That's where we can open up. That's where we can receive. If we're too focused in the past or too focused in the future, it's taking us right out of that present moment. And if we have that checklist in our minds that, oh, got to do the laundry, got to get the dinner done, got to get this email out, got to do this, right? Like, that's taking us out of that present moment. So whatever it is that you can be engaged in the present moment that lights you up, it's almost like being so deeply present in something where you become so lost that you're found. And so for me, I'll give an example. I find that for me, it's through dancing. Like, that is a medium for me. Dancing, moving my body, music, like, that is my medium. That is my expression. I become so lost in that I find myself. I'm so deeply present, and time just ceases to exist, because that's how present I am in that moment when I'm in my body that way and moving and connecting. It's part of my energy management. So, and I could use it to clear energy from my body. I could use it to call in and cultivate energy with my body. It's so powerful. But again, it's that presence, the presence that I have while doing it. So it's helping and guiding women on what that is for them. And again, how can you weave that more into your lifestyle where this is sustainable for you? Right? Because so many people get those lists. Well, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to do my affirmations and my meditation and my this, and right. And every single time I'm like, well, how are you doing with keeping up with that? And they're like, well, I don't do it anymore, because exactly that checklist became a chore list, and the chore list got chucked out the window because there's not that deeper connection to your daily life with it. So it's getting more clear on what you can be present in your day that you align with, that lights you up, that gets you in your body, that has you deeply present, and how you can expand and run with that and explore and play, right? Like, to where it's not work. It should be, fun and rejuvenating.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah, you do. We are just so in a massive with the lists, and I think that's another thing out there with like the spiritual world. It's like, you've got to do your breath work, you've got to do your journaling, you've got to do this and this, and then people obviously aren't keeping up with it, because it's not, obviously, like you say, it's just not what they're kind of drawn to. Whereas, like, I used to always try and meditate, whereas I couldn't do that. I would much rather get up, put 10 minutes of like goddess music on, and just, like you say, just lose myself to the music. You just shifting that
Yes,
stagnant
yes.
energy and just
Yes,
moving,
yes.
and it's just I just feel amazing when I, even just 10 minutes just to shift my energy when I wake up. And it just gives you a
Yes.
whole different mindset, doesn't it? Because you've connected with your body, you've shifted the energy, you just feel present in your body. It's just
Yes.
magical. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yes, and I completely agree. And that's what we get into, right? That's another thing we talk about, because there's not just one way to meditate, right? There could be a more traditional form where you're sitting and you're quiet and you're trying to, clear out or filter out the thoughts of your mind, right? Maybe focusing on your breath, right? Coming into your body that way. But that can be difficult for people for many reasons, right? Again, if you've experienced a lot of trauma, you might not feel safe enough in your body to do that, to sit and to quiet down, right? Or if maybe you have a lot of activation happening in your nervous system, that might be quite difficult. And then we try to do it. And what happens, we end up beating ourselves up because we're not able to do the practice like we're supposed to. So it can create a whole new sort of spiraling, right, within the mental activity where now our mental is even more activated than before we started. So it's not really helping us in that aspect. And there could be many other reasons. Maybe some people just don't resonate with that. Like me personally, I resonate with more active forms of meditation. So I do walking meditations every day out in nature, and they're always different. I call it walking alchemy, but also my dancing, my movement. I'd much rather be in that practice. And it is a form of meditation. It's meditative. So I'd much rather be engaged in something like that because it serves me better. It serves me deeper. And I just feel the connection again so much to my body and what I'm doing and the presence and everything about it. And it's a beautiful way for me to, again, engage in my energy management.
Yeah. And out in nature, that walking, that's such a good one, isn't it? Walking meditation, just reconnecting with the energy in nature, just like even hugging trees. It's just like we are cyclical beings, aren't we, as women?
Yes.
So yeah, it just makes so much sense. But we're so tapped out of it in the culture with society. And I love that you're
Yes.
bringing women back to this. It's that remembering, isn't it? It's like, oh my gosh, like who am I on the inside when I actually start to remember and shed the layers that no longer serve me.
Yes, and we actually talked about this. So for the women's circle for Inner Bloom, we got into this, and I do share this with my circle as well that I host. And we talk about our nature. We are so reflective in that. And there's so many women that actually don't know that our menstrual cycles line up with the
Yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
So, and I'm just always like sometimes surprised. I'm like, wow, this really information really isn't out there that much for women, and it's so important. And so we'll dive into that and what that looks like and aligning with our natural rhythms and cycles. And also looking at, again, even when we look at, we talked about this too, right? Take the word feminine, take the word masculine. Look at the ending of that word, right? That suffix, ine, which means the nature of, right? We know we have both within us, but if you look, ine, I before E, energy before energy. Your energy is that feminine principle, and your energy is the masculine principle. And they move in that symbiotic flow just as the seasons do. As the seasons cycle and they change, so do we. So getting back into that rhythm, because even take Inner Bloom, which I love the whole concept about, right? So with Inner Bloom, blooming into you, right? Blooming into the best version of yourself. And as we know, nothing in nature blooms all the time,
Yeah.
right?
That
It comes
ebb and
back to
flow.
those periods of stillness, right? Of that rebirth. And we see that reflected in our seasons. Winter is that time of stillness where we come back down to that 0 point before the seeds start to grow and they start to sprout and they yield new life. So we too share in that natural rhythm and that natural cycle, just as the earth. So we are meant to flow in that symbiotic way in reflection with nature.
Yeah. So important. I've always concentrated a lot of my healing was around my menstrual cycle. So I got diagnosed with endometriosis. So that sent me down a whole rabbit hole. But yeah, just I love sharing the spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Just like because once women are aware of it, it makes sense. Like you're not just crazy when you're going into your autumn. There's a reason for it, and when you can prepare for it and allow it and just allow yourself to just ebb and flow with it,
Mm.
it just like brings you back, doesn't it, to like allow it and just not go in that shame cycle that we go in every month and you're like, oh, that's why I'm the way I am at that time of the month. It just makes so much sense, and I just love the way that you explain it. Even when I think about feminine, I just naturally do this. I don't really want to it. It's just like it just naturally happens to my body. But yeah, it's just
Right?
so important, and I love that, like coming into Inner Bloom, like finding your work. Like I started the one that Sammy posted yesterday, and then you've got the Inner Compass,
Yes.
and you've got so much in there that you provided for us that we can dive into. And that it's just so crazy that I'm in that cycle of my life as well. So I just feel like you've come into our lives at the perfect time in Inner Bloom.
Thank you. It really has been so aligned and synchronistic. The way Inner Bloom has manifested for me in my life has just been absolutely incredible. But I love how you were even just showing and expressing like with your body and how that feels, because it is so fluid.
Yeah.
The feminine energy, it's more fluid, and something that I channeled a while ago and that I shared that had to do with masculine and feminine energy. And it was this, it was, he is the structure, she is the essence. He is the notes, she is the melody. So we are that type of fluid, free-flowing expression where the masculine can provide such a safe structure and container. And right, the feminine essence can then weave throughout and flow as it needs to, and shift and change to match the reflective cycles. So there's a lot between the dynamics too that are really, really powerful. And we can even see that right in business. So many of our Inner Bloom members are beautiful women who are embarking on these journeys within expanding their business. And the amazing thing that we can see is that in that is like the masculine and feminine energetics. So having things done on the back end, right? Those structures, that is beautifully masculine to then keep you, right, more in your creative feminine flow, where then you can be in the magnetism and be in that attraction point in your pleasure principle and your creation energy, and not worrying about so much of the hustle, right, and the grind, because you can have these systems, these structures in place that can help you do that. So we can see this in many different areas of life.
I feel that shifting as well a lot in the digital marketing world. Everyone's kind of coming out of that masculine hustle into the feminine authenticity. I just feel a massive shift with that at the minute.
Yeah.
And Inner Bloom's got best of both worlds, hasn't it? It's got the healing in the academy, and it's got the obviously the business side of it as well, which is a perfect mix as well.
Yes, and that was one of the other things I really loved about Inner Bloom was that focus. So not only on helping women in business, because business, right, it's not just reserved for men. Women can be in business, but it's how we are approaching that, right? So what could be more supportive for a feminine in business? How can we approach business from a feminine way? And we need to be learning that from women. I mean, myself, I've been in containers where I've had male coaches and I've had feminine coaches in business. And the ones that align the most in business for me were the feminine coaches. The masculine had beautiful knowledge and information and structures that I did learn, but the approach and the application was not what was serving me. And we're seeing this a lot in the models that are pumped out about business for women, even on social media, the posting and, you know, what's being pumped out to us about that and how to follow that. And so much of it, I'm like, that just doesn't jive with me. So I just follow my feminine wisdom on that, and I do and take action on what I need to take action on when it feels aligned for me to do so.
Yeah, and I think it's coming back to your feminine is coming back to trusting yourself and being able to tap into that intuition, to trust that intuition to guide you,
Yes.
instead of just doing what everyone else is saying and pigeonholing you into. It's trusting you and what resonates with you, like you said. It's so important, and it'll save you so many headaches as well, because we've got everything inside of us, haven't we, that we need.
Yes, and I think you just like hit the nail on the head too with that trust. That's such a big piece, and that's something that we can be really disconnected from when we're disconnected from our bodies, right? When we've again had these programs or these narratives and these distortions around the feminine body and what that means and what it should look like, and again how we should be connected to it, how we should act, how we should express ourselves. You know, sometimes we're told we're too much, other times it's too little, right? There's all these narratives that we just have to sort of, you know, push to the side. But so getting back into that trust can be so deeply so deeply beautiful and connective, and we can do that with the body. And that's why I wanted to share Inner Compass with Inner Bloom. So that is actually one of a series of master classes I have in a bigger course called Embodied Alchemy that I really designed for women to, again, get back into their bodies, get back into their intuitive connection, and how they can be present within that. So anything to keep you in your presence, to where you are becoming moving, living, breathing alchemy, right? It's not getting stuck in the past. We're not projecting too much into the future. It's what can you do in the present moment to be aligned with your natural rhythm, your natural alchemical process. And so that's where we start in Inner Compass. It's coming back to the body and how you can tap into that innate communication and rebuild that trust within yourself. Because when you can rebuild that, it brings you so much more. It can lead to more freedom, to more fun, to more play, obviously more trust, to more expression, to more creative expression. There's so much more pleasure. I mean, it's it's really endless when we can tap back into that. And it's really setting yourself up to be your own authority as well. We don't need the external. So it's about, again, sinking deeper inwards. And I always say the deeper you go, the higher you rise. So it's a really beautiful place, yeah, for the feminine embodiment.
Wow, you just speaking to my soul. I get goosebumps.
I love that. Thank
It's
you.
been absolutely amazing. If I could ask you one more question before I
Of
let you go, Denise.
course.
If you could share one message with women all around the world, what would it be?
Ooh, it would be that you are enough, just as you are in this exact moment.
Yeah, I love that. I know whenever someone says that, I always feel really emotional. And I think that's because that's something I'm working through as well. And I just want every other woman to know that as well. That is so powerful.
Thank you.
It's so true, isn't it? You are enough. Like, you are enough.
Right. There's
So
like
beautiful.
not even anything, right? Like, take it out of your mind that there's anything you have to do or any certain way you need to look or be or act. Enough. We've had enough of that. In this moment,
Yeah.
you are enough. And I think it's going to be a huge, and we're seeing it and we're feeling it. And this is this enormous reclamation of this feminine embodiment. I mean, even the magnitude of it, I feel like that word doesn't even do it justice, because we are reclaiming this. We are rewriting these narratives on what it looks like. And we are staying true to what that means for us, like uniquely on our journey. And because when we can embody that uniquely for us, our personal embodiment, it's just shining a light, and it just shows others like I have permission to do the same. So something else for every woman, like, this is your permission slip. This is your permission slip to let go of anything external, all the voices, all the programs, what anybody's telling you what to do or who to be. This is your permission slip to throw that all out the window and get back in touch with you, who you are and why you're here.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Denise. This has been absolutely magical.
Oh,
and I hope
so
you've
welcome.
spoken to everyone else's soul like you have mine tonight. And I just can't wait for this shift in the collective, because it's just so needed right now. We need to bring back the matriarchy. We're rising. I can feel it.
Yes. And you know what? It's going to go hand in hand. The more we reclaim this feminine embodiment, it's also giving the masculine to reclaim their authentic embodiment as well. So it's going hand in hand. We're helping each other. As one rises, the other will rise too. So I think it's really important at this time. So again, the more we can rise and reclaim this feminine embodiment, we're just giving everybody else the permission slip to rise in their own embodiment as well.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that is it. This is your permission slip to be in your feminine energy and heal, and come to Inner Bloom and see the amazing Denise courses that we've got that you kindly gifted us inside the academy, because they are absolutely magical. So thank you so much, Denise, and I can't wait for the next women's circle next month. But it's been
we
so
have it
lovely.
coming up next month. I'm so excited. We are going to be diving even deeper into our feminine embodiment. We will have some fun practices, and we've also been working with the elements. So we had a nice opening ceremony, a burn ceremony with fire, and we are going to be journeying even deeper into fire. And I did have a gift for all of our Inner Bloom members, which was a fire initiation, which is unlike any masterclass anybody has ever been a part of, because it's immersive. I designed it to stimulate your senses to get you back into your body. So as you're watching, it's going to stimulate different areas of your body so you can explore that type of embodiment in a more tangible and impactful way.
Wow, I need to catch up on that one. I've got my little witches pot that I always put my, you know, when
That
you
is
do your little burn
adorable.
ceremony.
I
I need a
love
bigger
that.
one.
That is adorable.
But thank you so much, Janine, and I cannot wait to see you next month. But thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having
Take
me.
care. See you
Bye bye.
soon. See you later.